Alright, so paint's all dry. She's ready to go. Just gotta take her apart so I can get her upstairs, and then we'll put her back together and start to put all the fun stuff in. So without further ado, let's see how quick I can get this thing apart. I'm gonna start off in the back and then work my way up. So we got the whole thing taken apart, and like I said, I can pretty much just take all these pieces and sort of flat pack them, just put them all on top of each other, stack them up, and then take it wherever I need to take it, and then put it right back together. And I think that probably took like, I don't know, 10 minutes tops. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start moving all the stuff upstairs, and then I'll meet you back up there. Alright, so welcome back. I've got all the pieces and parts moved up here, and I'm ready to start assembling. So first thing I need to do is get access to the bottom of my control deck, because I got to put all the buttons in. So I'm going to take this one board off. Okay. Should just come right off. There it goes. Alright, so now that I got that exposed, I can start putting in the buttons. So I'm going to start off with the joystick. And let's see, I think I wanted to have blue on the left. So put that right in there. I gotta remember. I'm pretty sure up is this way. So in the event that I screw this up, I'm gonna have to open this back up and turn it like 90 degrees. But no big deal. Alright, so for this I'm just gonna use a couple 1/2" wood screws. I'll say 4. That should be enough to get me where I need. I want to make sure this thing is kind of centered in there. Nice thing about these 1/2" screws is I don't have to worry about them puncturing through the other side, because they are shorter and then the board is wide. So that's a plus. Actually, I think I'm only going to do 2, because that'll hold it real firm and steady anyhow. So that's one control stick. Just kind of pull a little bit. Alright, so now I just put these pieces back on. Tighten that up. And grab the red joystick. Out real good. That through the hole. Now this one I already went ahead and got the holes ready for it ahead of time. There's one of them. So I already know how I want to position that. Just need to make sure it's straight, because if it's not straight, that would result in a lot of weird stuff. It would make it kind of awkward to go to the side, up, down, left, and right if the joystick wasn't actually straight on here. So that's pretty important. Alright, so now I gotta get my ball out. Put my little shroud on. Tighten the ball down. Alright. Now the rest of these are just going to be pretty much jam the button in and get the wiring ready. And there's going to be a bunch of these that I got to shove on there also. It doesn't really matter how I orient the pins on here. They're gonna work no matter how I do it. But just for the sake of making it easier to know how I'm wiring it, I'll make sure they're all the same. Because it does actually matter which pins are where in this particular set. A lot of buttons, if it's just like a push button that's not lighted or anything, it's pretty simple because it's just going to be a quick little just 2 poles pretty much. You don't have to worry about, where you put the ground or where you put the other wire. But in this case, one of them is going to go to the light, so if I don't put them in the right places, the light will just be lighted whenever I push the button or something. So that's not what I'm aiming for. Buttons to go on here. Now, I don't think I showed it, but I did cut 2 holes into the front cabinet piece, and those are going to be for the coin buttons, which is basically just going to act like if you put a coin in the machine, because I haven't gotten a coin mechanism yet. And I didn't really feel like waiting forever to put this whole thing together, because it's taken up space in my garage for quite a while now. Better part of, I think it's been about a week since I started. Oh, I better not. Of course, watch me be missing the last ring. Oh, don't make me have to make my own. Alright, well, either they didn't give me a ring, or I left it outside in the garage somewhere. So, I gotta go see if I can find the one ring. Yep, right outside where I left it. Okay, so, last button. And got it. So got all the buttons in. And now it's time to do all the wiring of the buttons. But I guess first I'll do a quick little, I'll do a short a brief little stint on my Raspberry Pi, and also, so I'm going to try to look at the Raspberry Pi here and see where I'm going to be able to put this thing, and just kind of lay out everything for organizational purposes here. So, got the Pi here, so I can actually put the Pi back here so it's maximum out of the wayness, and that should be good. And then I have my two control boards, so I kind of have to turn them this way because that'll look better. I can only stretch these things so far, unfortunately, so this will be one of them. The farthest away I can put it is about here, I think. So, yeah, about there. I can always get longer wires or make longer wires by cutting these and splicing them in however I want to. But I have to be, as far as if I want to use the stock wires, I'm kind of limited by that constraint here. So about there is a bad place for it. And obviously the cord that's going to go between there and the Pi is in good shape. These are powered from the Pi, so that's fine. The power for the Pi is actually going to be off the back, which that is going to be real close to the power supply anyway, so plenty of room there. Yeah, so this looks like it'll wire up pretty good, and shouldn't have any problems. Okay, so I'll go get those screws and I'll start mounting things in place. Alright, so I got a bunch of 3/8 inch number 4 wood screws. And I'm just going to use these to put my boards in. These are 3/8 inch, so there is pretty much absolutely no way they're going to go through. Now, what I'm going to do before I mount the board in, I've decided is I'm going to go ahead and wire everything up. So, that requires me to use the diagram, which was there. So, they give you a nice wiring diagram with these, and pretty much they tell you what each button is and blah blah blah. So yeah, the the wiring is a little bit differently. They actually even give you pictures, which is nice because I just need to go by that. So I'm pretty much going to take these, wire everything up, and then once I know where everything is, then I will go ahead and try to move everything. So I'm going to go with button 1 being the bottom leftmost button, which is, you know, obviously backwards here. And so I should have a ground wire on each of these, and then the red wire goes on the non-raised post, and the yellow wire goes on the slightly raised post. Done. Nailed it. Alright, just gotta do that like a ton more times. So that's set up. Now I gotta go grab the appropriate drill bit so that I can start screwing these down to the control deck and then securing them in place. So, be right back. Alright, so that's in place. Now I can go ahead and put my cables on. And there's a couple ways you can go about zip tying everything and getting everything the way you want it. And for right now, I'm not going to worry too much about zip tying all the cables and making them super neat, because I'm not going to see them anyway. And because I'm using a Raspberry Pi and there's no like fans that I'm using, everything's kind of just cooled on its own. I don't really even have to worry about, you know, airflow. So everything's pretty much set. Now one thing I am going to do is I have a wireless keyboard, and I'm going to attach the wireless dongle to one of the USB slots here, so that way I don't have to open the thing up every time I want to attach, every time I want to like, you know, use my keyboard to do whatever on it. So I need to grab that. I may have a stroke of genius here. Not really a stroke of genius, maybe just a stroke. Let's see. I'll just plug a regular old keyboard in for now. Yeah, rotate 180 degrees. I'll just plug that in for now, and I'll actually keep it right in there. And that way, when if I ever need to access it, all I gotta do is unscrew that panel, and yeah, I'll just unscrew the panel pretty much. And would you get back in there? So yeah, I'll just unscrew the panel and you know, take the keyboard out and move about smartly with my day. For now, all I gotta do is put the screws in here, and then I can start putting the whole thing together. There we go. So everything's wired up. Everything should be set. And I'll just need to... Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright. Got my buttons on there. They'll light up and everything will look good. Of course, this is mirrored for some reason. Maybe it's just because of the way I'm looking at the camera, but see, this is my right hand, but it looks like my left hand. Man, that's weird. Never noticed that with my camera. I didn't know it mirrored the screen like that. Anyway, so yeah, so control deck is all set up. Now we just got to go ahead and put the rest of it together, so that shouldn't take too long.